there is only one place to start, and that is with a young man who's grabbed the attention of not just darts fans, pundits, everyone involved in the game, but a much wider audience with his run so far. Luke Littler, on debut, the reigning PDC World Youth Champion, the JDC World Champion. He's now in the quarterfinals of the biggest tournament in darts. Discuss.
I mean, what is there to say? And you obviously weren't on our last show a week ago, and I tried to talk down some of the more absurd things that were being said, including the odds that he was facing. But since then, he's only lifted his game. You look back, that third round, the second round against Andrew Gilding. I mean, who knows what would have happened if it went to a fifth set, but he was definitely fortunate to get through that match. Gilding was the better player after the second break and just missed too many darts at double that would have forced a deciding set. I don't know in that situation, having blown a 2-set lead, whether Luke Littler would have been able to find his game again to get over the line. He may have. He's been so cool, so collected under pressure. I say that, but it doesn't even look like he's been under pressure, even when he probably certainly was. We don't know how he would have reacted getting to a deciding set against a major champion who was upping his game as that match went along. He could have very well gone out in the second round. But then against Matt Campbell, he played better. Not his best, but he definitely played better. And Matt Campbell didn't show up for the first half of that match. He looked like he was still on the plane from Canada. But then in that fourth round match yesterday, as we're recording, against Raymond van Barneveld, I thought that was even more impressive than his first round against Christian Kist, just because Raymond van Barneveld threw it back at him and came back at him. Christian Kist had a brilliant first set, and it was nowhere near enough, but he was playing at a level that, Christian Kist had been maybe approaching earlier in the year before the injuries resurfaced and the confidence started to fade as well. But certainly not a level we thought he could maintain. But Luke Littler threw it right back at him and almost maintained that all the way throughout. Raymond van Barneveld, though, was able to keep that level throughout the entire match and at times get better. He upped his average after that after the second break to get over a ton, and nearly finished over a ton when it was all said and done. He improved his game as it went along, and Luke Littler stood that down and just kept on firing a 105 average, and in the end it was too much. That was what was impressive, because Raymond van Barneveld threw it at him. And yeah, you can say Luke Littler is a little fortunate. Barney missed those darts to win the third set to get on the board. Had he won that, and then assuming he still would have won the fourth set like he did, now it's 2-2 and them going off, kind of like that Andrew Gilding scenario I was talking about. Who knows what Luke Littler would have done under that pressure, coming back in an even match as opposed to being a set away up 2 sets with the darts. But I don't think it would have made that much difference, because by that point, he just seemed so confident in himself and so unfazed by everything. His action never went in that match. Even when he had that one visit where he missed those 3 darts at double, and they weren't really the best thrown darts, his action was still there. And he came back in the next leg and threw a 140 first visit. That's what he does. He just regroups. He's unfazed. I am really impressed. What happens next? We'll see. Brendan Dolan, you would expect that he'd beat, but Brendan Dolan has found a way to get it done each match. Against Mickey Mansell, the best we've ever seen from Mickey Mansell on television, went to a last leg decider, found his best darts in that set on throw, held throw 6 times in that deciding set to get over the line. Against Goran Price, he was the better player on the day. Gezi, we didn't see him at his best, but Brendan Dolan was the better player in that match. And against Gary Anderson, similarly, especially after he went from 2 sets up to suddenly behind 3 sets to 2, to then relift his game, to have his best set, to average 107, I think it was, in that 6th set. And then, he got a little fortunate that Gary missed those darts in the 3rd leg that would have allowed for a break. But he composed himself, he hit the double, and then he broke Gary in the deciding leg. Brendan Dolan has taken everything that's been thrown at him by multiple world champions and played, in the end, the better darts on the match. He's not going to be scared of Luke Littler. Luke Littler is and should be the favorite, but Brendan Dolan is not a walkover. Littler won't necessarily have to do as well as he did against Barney to win that match, but If he plays like he did against Andrew Gilding, or if he plays like he did against Matt Campbell, he'll have a match on his hands and he might go down. Let's see. And I'll add one more thing that I actually want to say as well. We, again, haven't seen how he's going to do in a long format like best out of 9, especially if Dolan steals a few sets. His longest match to date has been 5 sets. He's going to have to win 5 sets to get through the semifinals. Can he maintain that level if this match is suddenly in a 7th, 8th, 9th set? That's a question that we don't know. Granted, we don't know whether Brendan Dolan can. We've not seen him go that long, except over a decade ago when he made the final of the World Grand Prix when it was a best out of 11 final. That's the last time we've seen him be able to maintain over a long format his best game. So there's questions there too, but he's much more experienced, much more likely to be able to not see his performance drop. But Luke Littler is and should be the favorite, and a trip to the semifinals is more than possible now.
Yeah, it certainly is. And going back to what you said at the start there, what is there left to say about this young man, Luke Littler, that hasn't been said already? He is a generational talent, and I've seen that phrase thrown about a few times, and I used it with Bo Greaves in the women's game. These are players that don't come around very often. You don't get a 16-year-old on debut reach the last 8 of the PDC World Championship every year. And with Bo Greaves, you don't get a teenager becoming a women's world champion and dominating the women's game. But what Luke Littler's done in these last couple of weeks so far, it is remarkable. And I was thinking back to when we've seen young talent have a major breakthrough like this. There's been comparisons to Michael van Gerwen at his age, and Michael back in the BDO system when he won the World Masters as a 17-year-old in 2006. That same year, Jelle Klaasen, he became the youngest winner of the BDO World Championship. He was 21 years old on his debut, and going back even further than that, if you want, Eric Bristow winning the World Masters 1977, 20 years of age. So we have seen young players come through the ranks very quickly, but I don't think there's been someone like Luke Littler to the standard that he's produced so far in this tournament for the most part. And I guess it can be difficult to compare the eras, particularly from the 70s, the 80s to now, because the game has changed so much. The equipment that players use, it's certainly helped. But yeah, just going back on Luke Littler, the standard that he's produced, the 106 average in the first round, the highest by a debutant in the PDC World Championship. And you mentioned the game against Andrew Gilding. His level did drop for a little spell there. There was a dip, and he managed to hold it together, get through 3-1 when Andrew Gilding was coming back at him. But as you say, if Andrew Gilding would have got it to 2-2, it could have got nervy. We don't know. But since then, it's been pretty much one-way traffic for Luke Littler. And after that Christmas break, the 97 average to beat Matt Campbell 4-1. And last night, when we're talking the 105 average to beat one of his idols, Raymond van Barneveld, by the same scoreline. And I think, like a lot of people, when he won that first game, we saw the odds slashed by all the bookmakers. He became the 4th, 5th favourite to win the tournament. I was a little bit wary as well. I wanted to see more from him, and he is now, I think at the time of recording, the joint 2nd favourite with Luke Humphries to win the title. Is that a bit too much still? I'd probably say yes. I think there is still a few more questions around Luke Littler that we're going to find out over the next few days, depending on how far he progresses. But with each round that passes, the wins keep racking up, and he's still performing at this high level. The reasons to think that he couldn't do the unthinkable and win this title on his debut, they're starting to run out, aren't they? So whatever happens from here, if he goes out tomorrow in the quarterfinals or he goes a little bit further, Luke Littler, what he has done is he's announced himself in the world of darts, and everyone who knows about darts, they know about Luke Littler now, and we are going to be talking about him for many years to come. And if he can get that win tomorrow against Brendan Dolan, he will go into the top 50 in the world. His tour card, that will go somewhere else. So to do that on debut would be an incredible achievement. And to think only a few months ago when he won his tour card through the development tour at 16 years old, there was a little bit of talk. We talked about it as well. Is he too young to go on the tour next year? Well, considering what he's done in the biggest tournament in darts the last few weeks, I think he's more than ready to have a go at the tour next year when he goes on there.